Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. This here is the star of today's show, the FermZilla. But I'm going to move it and get it out of the way so you can see me and I can talk about it. So, welcome. I wanted to do a video today because I finally decided to get a second FermZilla fermenter because it is my favorite fermenter of all time so far. And I wanted to explain why. So before I get started, listen, it would help my channel out tremendously if you would look down below and hit the subscribe button. Only about 20% of people who watch my videos actually subscribe, and nothing could help my channel more and motivate me to keep putting out more videos than having you subscribe. So that being said, thank you very much. I couldn't do this without you. Aww. And let's get started. So the FermZilla, let me pull this thing out of the box. It does come with this wonky, let's see if I can get this in the picture. That will work. So yeah, let me go over this real quickly. So it's basically a plastic, food safe, pressure rated fermenter. And it's rated to be able to do pressure fermenting up to 2 years. I'm hoping and I'm thinking that if you take care of it, it will last a lot longer than 2 years to be able to hold pressure. But that's the guarantee they give you. So there's that caveat. But here's the deal. What I like to do is ferment in this. And you know me, I ferment for an entire year. So if you want to... let me move this out of the way for a second. Let's say, actually, you know what? Let me keep the fermenter up here so you can see what I'm doing. Maybe. Put it upside down for a second. All right. So it comes with this cap, right? That has a little silicone ring in it. And it has these two extra little pieces. So it has 2 holes in it, right? Now, if you want to ferment non-pressurized, just a normal fermentation, you can plug one of the holes up with just a screw cap, and then this side actually has a cap that has a little smaller hole in it, and guess what you can do? Put an airlock. So now you're going to ferment in this thing and put this lid on, and it has a cap that tightens it down, and now you can just ferment like a regular fermenter with no pressure at all. So when it's done fermenting, right, let's say you finish, it's been a month, it's done fermenting, all right, whether or not you're using this setup or the pressure one, you're going to switch it out. So if it's this one, you're going to undo this top, you're going to pull this out, you're going to remove this, right? So this is still on the fermenter. And you're going to put on your pressure fermentation caps. It also came with these. Now, you used to have to buy it separately. I don't know how long they'll be doing this, but for me, it came with it. So you tighten these down nice and tight. And obviously, you can see this will let you connect a keg to it. And then it also came with a floating dip tube with a really cool filter, which you can get those online. So you trim it. I've already trimmed this one. I might have to trim it a little bit more. So if you can see that tube will actually float and pull beer from the top. So what I do, I don't ever take it off the yeast cake. I ferment for a month. Then I take this whole thing. I don't transfer it to anything else. I leave it in here, put it in the keg for a week to carbonate and to cold crash, and then I serve right off the fermenter. Here's what I like. First of all, don't let anybody tell you that you can't serve directly off of it or that you have to pull your beer off of the yeast cake. You can leave your beer on the yeast cake for several months, okay? And it won't be a problem. I've never had off flavors. The concern is that if you leave the yeast cake too long, the yeast cells will start to deteriorate and get thinner until they burst. And when they burst, they release all this diacetyl that they had reabsorbed back into your beer. So you don't want that to happen, but it takes a bit of time. For sure, I can tell you, guaranteed, I've done this many times. 2 months is not enough time for it to ruin your beer. So one thing is it saves you an entire step of having to transfer your beer to another vessel like a keg. Secondly, you're not going to take any chance on having oxygenation or oxidizing or any kind of infection because you're not messing with it. I've always said once the yeast have your beer, it's theirs. Don't mess with it. The other thing is it's see-through, right? So you can see through it while it's fermenting. And of course, you want it in a dark place while it's fermenting, so you can either put a t-shirt or a blanket around it, or you can do what I do and put it in a freezer for fermenting at a temperature control. Either way, it's nice to be able to see what's happening in there when you need to. And when it's in the kegerator, you don't have to guess how much beer is left in it. You can open the door and look and you can see. So you always know how much beer you have left in your keg and whether it's getting close to kicking or not. So, I mean, it's just, to me, the only negative side to this thing for me so far is that it's only rated to last 2 years as far as holding pressure. I think it'll last longer than that if you take care of it. But that's the only guarantee they give you, is that it will hold up to like 30. It says 35. I don't think I'd push it to 35. Up to 30 psi. I don't ever force carbonate in it. I always just let it sit for a week to carbonate. So, but I think, and it holds a lot. Listen, you could get a keg, right, and do the same thing. You could ferment inside the keg and then put directly serve off of it. The problem is most like Cornelius kegs, corny kegs, are 5 gallons, and your batches are 5 gallons. So if you try to ferment 5 gallons of beer in a 5-gallon keg, it's going to overflow. You're gonna have a blowout, and it's gonna be a big mess. You don't want that. So really, the only feasible way to do this with a keg as opposed to this, and the reason you'd want to do that or consider it, is a keg is not going to be rated for only 2 years, right? A keg is pretty much good for your lifetime. So you don't have to worry about it losing its ability to hold a pressure. It should be good to go, and you don't have to replace it. You can't see through it, so you lose that, right? If you're using a keg to ferment instead of the FermZilla, you can't see through it, and that's, to me, a big selling point. But you're going to want a larger keg, right? If you're gonna ferment in a keg, or a different size keg that can hold more than 5 gallons. I want to say, well, what does it say on here? How big? It's 30 liters. What is 30 liters? It's like, what, 6.5 gallons, I think, or something around there. So that's what the FermZilla holds. I mean, I wouldn't do 6.5 gallons in there, but I usually ferment 5.5 gallons of beer at a time. So you're looking for wanting to get a keg that's, 6.5 gallon keg. I believe you can get torpedo kegs, which are a sort of different shape, but they hold more liquid, and that way they still fit into your kegerator. Take a look around. There are options out there if you want to use a keg, but I think this is the best option to go. So I guess I didn't really show this well, but came with this as well. If it doesn't come with one, you want to buy one. This is a well, anyway, it's a bow tie because of it's called a bow tie because of this type of connection. I have another one that's not like this, but basically this lets you set how much you want to ferment, like what pressure you want to ferment at. And it will also let you help with transferring your beer from, say, the FermZilla to a keg. Spunding valve. It's early still. I haven't had my coffee. So this is a cool little spunding valve that came with it. I didn't have to buy it separately this time. So anyway, I hope that all helps explain why this is my favorite fermenter. If I didn't say it, which I don't think I did, I wasn't paid to do this. I didn't get this fermenter for free. I bought it with my own money because I like it. And I already have one, and I wanted to get another one so that I could have one fermenting and one in the keg. Yeah, so if you have any questions about it, let me know. Put it in the comments. If you use one, what do you think of it? And thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it, as always. Make sure that you take a look at my other videos. And as always, I'll have another video next week. So stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, hey, keep on brewing.